Welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever noticed how some folks have like hundreds of acquaintances and document literally every waking second online? While others, well, they keep just a handful of people close and their lives completely offline. Society kind of tells us that a small, private social circle means you're shy, awkward, or maybe just unfriendly. But today, we're going to completely flip that script. Okay, let's dive into this. What if having fewer friends isn't a social failure at all? Psychology actually tells us that keeping your circle small and purposely keeping your private life private is rarely just some accident. In fact, it's often a highly conscious, super psychologically healthy choice. It's absolutely not about being antisocial, it's about deep, purposeful intentionality. So let's start with Section 1, Shattering the Social Myth, the intentional choice of a small circle. Which brings us to Section 2, Trust and Deep Connections, preferring consistency over first impressions. And this brilliantly illustrates how for these individuals, trust just isn't automatic. They strongly, I mean really strongly, prioritize long-term consistency over those fast, charming first impressions that so easily win over the rest of the world. Knowing someone for a few weeks? Yeah, that's just not going to cut it. Instead, they prefer to spend months peeling back the layers to learn who someone truly is beneath the surface, and literally years observing repeated, reliable behavior before fully letting them in. It's totally a slow burn, but man, it builds an unbreakable foundation. Because of this incredibly slow vetting process, folks with small circles heavily prefer depth over frequency. They absolutely don't need to text you every day or, constantly interact with your posts to feel connected. Actually, they find far more emotional safety and deep psychological satisfaction in a few meaningful, high-quality chats rather than maintaining this massive, exhausting web of casual, everyday interactions online. One genuine connection is worth more than many surface-level ones. Honestly, that is just a tremendously powerful philosophy. For this personality type, quality will always trump quantity. They aren't out there looking to fill a room or artificially boost a follower count with random bodies. They are looking to fill their life with connections that actually matter. Next up is Section 3, Protecting Your Emotional Peace, Guarding Your Limited Energy. Think about it like this. Every single relationship you have requires energy, right? And that energy is a strictly finite, limited resource. More people in your network, especially when we're talking about a digital audience, means way more expectations placed on your shoulders. This is exactly why so many psychologically healthy people consciously choose not to broadcast their lives on social media. By keeping their lives private and their circles tight, they basically hack the system. They bypass the digital audience's expectations, the constant misunderstandings, and all that unnecessary drama. They aren't missing out on the party, they are actively opting out of the exhaustion to protect their own emotional peace. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it introduces Section 4, the comfort of solitude, enjoying your own company. This brings us to a massive psychological distinction. Being alone means genuinely enjoying your own company, whereas being lonely is totally rooted in the fear of solitude. Look, so many people stay in completely unfulfilling friendships or desperately seek a constant stream of online validation, simply out of fear. But people who consciously keep small, private circles, they just don't have that fear. Because they genuinely enjoy their solitude, their baseline is already peace. For them, a friendship actually has to be better than their own solitude just to make the cut. So, how do they decide who actually makes that cut? Well, they watch actions, not words. Empty promises or a barrage of supportive emojis in the comment section simply do not impress them. They pay very close attention to who actually shows up during the hard times. They're watching who keeps their word consistently in the real offline world, rather than who just talks a big game on the internet. Ultimately, trust is a bond that grows through repeated, reliable behavior, not through charming conversations. This super strict observational vetting process is exactly why their circle grows so incredibly slowly. But, and here's the real kicker, it is also the exact reason why that small circle becomes so incredibly, almost unbreakably strong over time. Which leads us into our final stretch. Section 5, the true measure of friendship. Reevaluating what makes a healthy connection. As we bring this explainer toward its conclusion, we really have to reframe what a truly healthy relationship looks like from a psychological perspective. It is absolutely not about the sheer volume of contacts in your phone, and it is definitely not about the number of followers you have online. Psychologically, the healthiest relationships are measured by how safe, supported, and understood you feel. So, the crucial point is, keeping your circle small and your life private just means you are intentionally prioritizing those few vital spaces where you truly feel those three things. I'll leave you with this final, provocative question to ponder. Who are the few that truly matter in your circle? Take a hard look at your own life today. Seriously, forget about how many people you know or how many people know about you on the internet. Instead, deeply value those genuine, time-tested connections you've built. Because sometimes, the quietest decisions about who we let in reveal the absolute deepest truths about what we value. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep valuing your peace.